This video is not for the squeamish. There's heavy modification on the Famicom that needs to be done.
Who's scruffy?
Today's device is the Keitai FC Seisaka kit. So what this does, if you can't tell, is it takes the good old Famicom, the early version, and it puts it into a handheld device. Now you know I love my Famicom, but putting it into a handheld device where you can play original carts is just an awesome idea to me. So, you know, I had to pick this up. This is a mod by Little Sound. He does a lot of independent games as well as this mod here. These come and go pretty quickly, but they come in at least once a month. He makes them all himself. So he 3D prints these cases, so it's not like they have a whole lot in stock. So you just have to get it when you can. Today I'm going to take this Famicom here and we're going to install it in the Little Sounds Keitai FC. So let's get scruffy looking. So here we've got the kit. It feels very solid. There are some little imperfections here and there, but it feels like a nice bit of plastic. Okay, so it has kind of a ridge here that snaps into this little spot here. There's a bunch of little pieces for the screen and spacers and whatnot. Some capacitors and resistors. Some headers in there too. Tiny caps or resistors in there. A speaker. We've got a potentiometer for volume. We've got a couple tactile buttons. We've got a power switch, a USB-C port. And here are the two boards. It's got the logo of Little Sound there. Controller board. This is where the screen and everything else goes.
You will need an LCD screen, a lithium-ion polymer battery, a controller board for the rechargeable battery, an early revision Famicom. Later revisions with the FF label will not work with this mod. Okay, let's break this puppy down and get started. We need to harvest the buttons and membranes, as well as the IC chip, because we'll be installing them into the new controller board. First, these membranes are in dire need of a de-scruffing of sorts.
Okay, the board you want for this Keitai Famicom is this HVC CPU07. It's an early board. You can see it's 1984. So first thing we're going to do is remove the ribbon cable here that's connected to the RF board, power board. Flip it over. You can see we've got a couple things we can desolder. We're going to use our desoldering gun here. I've used it in many mods. It's very convenient. So we've got it all warmed up here. So let's just do that real quick. If you don't have a soldering gun, you could also just snip the wires at the base here and remove it that way. So anyways, we're going to get to it. Okay, we have to desolder a few other things. We've got the reset button here. We've got this extension jack for the controller And these two controller ports here we've got to remove as well. So let's do that. I realize that I need a bigger desoldering tip to remove this expansion port. In the meantime, we'll work on the controllers and getting the chip ready. With the IC chip free, we can focus on the main board and swap out resistors 6 and 12 with the 130 ohms and 15 ohms respectively. You can see we have a lot of tall components that need to be laid down. Gonna have to come down like this, but I would like to do some cleaning on the board before I do that.
Exchanging the desoldering gun tips from a 1.0 to a 1.5 diameter. This way we can remove the expansion port. The pins on it are a bit girthier than anything else in the Famicom components. Pro tip, always make sure your tip is clean. It looks like it's time to clean out the suction chamber. Remember to do this, especially before you get started on a big project.
So these need to be fixed down to the board so that they don't stick out too much. Got a pair of resistors that need to be replaced. on the Famicom board, and these are those resistors. And if you're ever in doubt with a resistor and don't know the colors or can't see the colors, it's a good idea to take your multimeter and just test them out. So this one here is 129.15. Okay, 129 and 15. They're going to go here and here. So. Okay, I've got a little saw here because we need to do some sawing. So on the Famicom, you can see here there's a little line right about here, and we need to cut these little plastic pieces off. So this video is not for the squeamish. There's heavy modification on the Famicom that needs to be done. So we're going to go ahead and take these off here. Okay, you can see that these are not perfect, but I can sand them down further. All that matters is that this fits into the case. Fitting issue here. You can see that little bit there. See these little perforations on the side of the case? Those can probably be sanded down. They get in the way over here. So I'll go ahead and do that.
Pro tip: if you have torn membranes, usually you can replace them with the controller 2's membranes. Now on to populating the controller board components. We are ready to add buttons and membranes to our controller. Now into the shell. Now on to populating the main board with all of its components. Okay, now that our board is populated enough to where we can do a quick test fitting into the shell.
Okay, we have two types of ceramic capacitors here, and this is 104. It reads 104K on it, but it means 0.1 microfarads, and this is 103 right here, and it means 0.01. So this is 0.1 and this is 0.01. It's in the instructions, so just be careful where you put them. These may be omitted as well, depending if you have a reliable power source. So I'm just going to put them in anyways because I have them. Here we have the LCD monitor, color monitor TFT LCD. Audio and video and power. We just need to take it apart. The plastic face too. Okay, so here we have the screen. It runs on 12 volts, so we need to convert it to 5 volts. And to do that with this specific type, you need to remove this chip and I believe this coil here. So I'm going to go ahead and disconnect it. A little controller there, and then we're going to have to pull it off of here, and I will remove those two components. Just be careful with the ribbon cable. Okay, I had a very tough time getting this little chip off of here. I ended up snipping it off, and this coil here, I also ended up snipping it off. I'm not very good at removing these tiny parts, and there's plastic here, so I don't want to use a heat gun. Maybe this is unnecessary, but either way, I don't want to use a heat gun for this because it's just really tiny quarters. I don't want to melt anything. So I'm going to just leave it as is and solder a wire best I can to that pad from there. Just add some solder to it. I think it'll work. And I accidentally damaged this one. I checked it. It looks like it's got connectivity, so that's good. This is how we're going to go with the screen board.
Now we need to hook up some wires for the controller to the screen and to the main motherboard. Afterwards, we should be able to connect a battery and test if everything is in working order. wired up now, and we can snap the controller board into this header, toss in a game, carefully connect the screen ribbon cable, and connect it to a suitable battery. The moment of truth. Nada.
R2 unit has a bad motivator, look!
Okay, yesterday I tried this little cable here, and it didn't seem to give the board any power, so I've got this cable today. This I know gives power because this is for my Sony camera. So we've got it hooked up to my Anchor battery over here, and we're gonna wish and hope for the best. So let's test it. Oh my goodness. That is Super Mario Brothers right there. We got it working.
Did you hear that?
Let's test the sound real quick. There she goes. Got volume. The A and B buttons work. Select and start work. Heck yeah. I am so happy. Here we need to put the screen into the main unit here, and you can see Little Sound has done a fantastic job of trying to clean this up. All these are being made by him. One-man job, so I give it up to him for putting the effort in. So those of you that are waiting, he's putting plenty of effort into making sure these things fit right. We're going to go ahead and install the screen. Got these two, they hold down the screen, and some nice little screws as well. Very nice. So let's do it. My screen doesn't hit anything. Okay, we're going to install the controller section and the buttons and the control board for the screen. But first we have to change these wires out for something longer.
The holes on the controller board do not match up with the screw holes, so I'm using a Dremel to be able to match them up better. There we go, that looks much better. Now let's test out the buttons for good measure, and everything seems in order.
Okay, I need to make these wires much longer because this has to come down here.
Remove the backing on the speaker and firmly place it in the corner over the hole. Lay down the Famicom's board first and secure it. Then we need to lay down the Famicom's K-tie kit board on top of that, not forgetting to use the little cylindrical spacers. They're very fiddly, so you need to take your time and make sure the screws are lined up properly. I used a pair of tweezers to adjust the long cylindrical spacers that are just underneath the K-tie kit's board. They need to be lined up well for the screw to go through. Warning, be very cautious not to over-tighten the screws. This is a printed shell. It is sturdy, but it's also prone to stripping if you over-tighten. If the boards are bending or bowing just slightly, you will have many problems. I had to go back and make sure things were lined up properly in order to get this nice and level. Testing once again the switches and potentiometers.
So we're going to put our battery up in here. You can see it says battery.
These are the controller boards for the rechargeable battery. We need to snip the battery connector because we'll be hardwiring it to the board. Be cautious not to cross the wires when installing the battery. Now that we have the battery installed, we need to remove the jumper and hook it up to the battery. The battery will go in here.
Okay, we've got everything connected properly. It seems to be getting power. If I press this, it should say something. It shows how much of a charge it's got. If we plug it into power, it should charge for us. You can see it charging there. It's almost a full charge, so we're going to test it out.
Be careful with wires when sandwiching the two halves together. Slap in Super Mario, and it is time for the moment of truth.
There it is.
I am so excited for this mod. Only you guys can truly understand the anticipation I've had while putting this thing together, and finally being able to see how it really works. Let's play a little bit and check it out.
I bought the battery also. It's like a 3700 milliamp battery. I think it probably only lasts like an hour and a half or something, but pretty amazing how this thing goes together. It's got a headphone jack, USB charging. It's got a reset switch. So instead of using this, which I can cut down and put on top of there, somebody made an acrylic add-on just for this kit here. Loop Cube Techno Japan, and I picked it up at Karano Ken's. He's selling them there. He has a stock of them at the moment. So I'm going to install this. But it looks really nice and it fits right in there without any fussing. So I'm going to definitely put it on. You can put it on the white side or the black side, but definitely like the black side. So we're going to go with the black side. I guess we have to fasten it on somehow. But yeah, that looks super nice. Look at that. So I'm going to have to clean this up and fix it on there permanently. But look at that. So impressed with that.
The kit comes with 4 different colors to choose from for our faceplate. What color would you go with? I don't think there's really a choice here, or a question, because we all know this burgundy must go with the gold faceplate. I mean, who is the fan of the original Famicom? These stickers are really tough to get just right, and I managed to goof it up a little, but after a little smoothing out here and there, it's not too noticeable. This is over OBJ. We're going to test this game. It's also made by Little Sound, and it is quite a good new bullet hell shooter for the Famicom. I highly suggest it. I figure it will be a good test for breaking in the new controller, show us how responsive the controllers are working. And after that short demonstration, I think the controllers feel much better than I could even have possibly imagined. So let's take a look at the other functions of the portable Famicom. The control panel in front of the volume gets quite loud, and the potentiometer moves quite smoothly. The USB-C port is used for quick access charging, or plug and play if you need it. The reset button is responsive, and I enjoy the satisfying click it makes. The headphone jack is in a nice location as well. You could drill out some holes or add a clear piece of plastic so that you can see the battery status if you so desired, but I opted not to. There is just something I've been wanting to try with this, and let's just take a quick look. Wow, that is so amazing. We can play on the go or even on the big screen. How versatile is that? I mean, how cool is that? Of course you do need an RGB blaster, but that's another item that I believe is well worth its weight in gold. Here is yet another cool independent action game I do recommend you checking out. I did a quick review on it. If you missed it, you can check it. It's going to be down in the description below. Let's go over the pros and the cons. So let's start with the pros. The thing I was most excited about with this mod is being able to play the original Famicom carts on the go. Its small form factor. Its sturdy yet compact build quality. This is what I had hoped the Game Boy would be. This may even come in handy when I'm out hunting in the junk and I find a game, I can test if it works. Or if I don't know what the game is, I can quickly see what the game is all about and make a decision. It's so much fun playing with this thing. I'm looking forward to trying out all different kind of peripherals and see how they work. So let's get to the cons, and there are not a whole lot of them, but one is that not all Famicom carts work on this device. I found some, like Samurai Pizza Cats, had a very buggy screen. The sound worked, but it was just very buggy and it was unplayable. Also, some independent games, like newer games like the 8-Bit Music Power Encore, also had the same buggy screen, yet you could hear the music. So that's unfortunate. Also, it's a little bit heavy, but the second really big thing that is a problem or a con for me is that the screen is not very good quality. I mean, it's only composite. There's a little bit of jitteriness here and there. You know, you can fix up old Famicoms and improve the video and audio quality by tinkering. So I might do that in a future episode. Also, you lose the microphone function and player 2 function, and as well as the expansion port. Although there's a lot of room for improvements in this mod, I do think if you're a tinkerer, this is going to be fun to try and get RGB inside and maybe a much better screen. I would really love to see people come up with different ways to make this a better quality. And I think I'll be doing that in the future. I know Little Sound is also working on quite a few new revisions, like a horizontal version that looks more like a GBA. And also I know Kadan no Ken is working on a RGB 2C20N, the flicker reduced RGB mod inside one of these. So that is going to be fun to see if they come out with a kit that uses that. In all, this mod gets a thumbs up in my book. I mean, what could be cooler than being able to play the original Famicom with original Famicom carts on the go? I mean, they do have those clone portable Famicoms, but those things don't work quite right, and they don't work with as many games. There we have it. We've got the portable Famicom kit by Little Sound. I really have been enjoying this thing, testing out what works and what doesn't. Just for fun, I hooked up the RGB blaster with the EverDrive to my Sony PVM, and it worked beautifully. There's so many fun things to try with this that I'm looking forward to. Not to mention, it's been really great to play on the go. So if you love your Famicom and you want something to take on the go with you, this is definitely something for you. But please let me know down in the comments what you guys think about this portable Famicom. Is it a mod you'd be interested in attempting, or would you be interested in purchasing a completed one? Let me know about it down below. Big shout out to Little Sound for creating this awesome mod. It is incredible. Before I forget, huge thank you to scruffy looking RGB channel members. Your support really helps keep this channel running. Thank you. If you're looking for any parts and or tools used in this mod, I will have affiliate links linked down below. It would really help out the channel if you were to use the links, as I earn a small amount from each qualifying purchase. That's all for today, so stay safe everyone. But above all, stay scruffy looking.
Who's scruffy looking?